Hey, I'm Jake Panasevich, and I teach yoga for men and athletes. And the first comment I get from guys who are brand new to yoga is always that, I'm not flexible enough to do yoga, okay, that I can't touch my toes when I bow forward. And the fear is that yoga will be inaccessible or even impossible if you're too tight. And that's like saying that I'm not strong enough to lift weights. Like, it's all the more reason to practice yoga. You'll get even more benefit from it. And so I'll give you a door in for a whole set of poses that'll open up the hamstrings efficiently. So take your time with these and enjoy. Thank you. Namaste. Start standing at the top of your mat. Okay, let your feet be about outer hips width apart. Okay, it's about 2 fist width if you're to measure. Louis joining. Okay, and make sure the feet point straight forward. Okay, and bow forward so your fingertips touch the floor in front of you. Okay, the hamstrings are tight. Bend your knees as much as you need to touch. Okay, if you still can't quite touch, bring your feet wider. Okay, they can go literally as wide as your mat. Okay, to touch down. Okay, either way, you have to touch. Okay, to get a lift on your low back, to protect your low back. Okay, make sure your knees are pointing right over your feet. And with your inhale, now straighten your legs. Lift halfway up, hands to the shins. And exhale, bow. Okay, twice more, big inhale. And every time you bow, okay, bend your knees if you have to touch. Okay, once more, big inhale. Exhale, place your hands, step back to plank. Okay, wrists are underneath your shoulders, legs straight, and lower down, chaturanga. Okay, inhale, cobra, hips to the mat, stamp your hands flat, and pull your chest forward and up. Okay, exhale, down dog. Okay, another pose you'll do all the time in yoga. If you have tight hamstrings, often it'll flatten your low back and cause strain in your low back. So you want to bend your knees halfway towards the floor. Widen your knees as wide as your heels. And your knees wide and bent. Tilt your pelvis up. Okay, get a lift in your low back. As much as you can keep that lift, actively stretch your hamstrings, heels towards the floor. With your inhale, come to the balls of the feet. Exhale, bend your knees, look forward, step or hop to the front of your mat, and bow. Inhale, lengthen your back, hands to your hips, keep your waistline back. So you stand, okay, you take a wide stance on your mat, and swivel your right toes forward for warrior two. Bend your right knee deeply, okay, square the hips towards the side edge of the mat, okay, for side angle pose. Right forearm to your right thigh, and reach your top arm by your ear. Okay, keep your front knee bent fully. Rotate your right ribs towards the ceiling. Inhale, come up, warrior two. Straighten your right leg, reach forward, and touch down. Right hand to the outside of your right outer shin to floor or a block. Okay, or if your hamstrings are very tight, you can get as tall as you have to. Okay, hand on the leg. Just make sure you don't push weight on your leg when you get tall. Get as tall as you need to avoid any slouch in the shoulders. Legs strong. Lengthen your back, tilt your gaze up, reach up. Okay, legs strong as you come up to stand. Swivel your right toes in, left toes out. Bend your left knee deeply for warrior two and side angle pose. Left forearm to your left thigh. Swing your top arm by your ear. Okay, keep the back foot heavy. And front knee bends. Left heel roots down. Widen your left knee to the left. Tap your left hip under. Open your chest towards the ceiling and stretch your top arm straight. Okay, come back, warrior two. Straighten your left leg and reach forward and touch down. Triangle pose. Legs strong. Okay, get as tall as you have to avoid any slouch in your shoulders. If your legs steady, lengthen your back, tilt your gaze up. Okay, legs steady, come up. Swivel both feet towards the side edge of the mat. Okay, and hinge forward. Place your hands. Okay, hands can go way forward underneath your shoulders. Especially if the hamstrings are tighter, you can even bend the knees a little bit to touch. And get your legs strong. Okay, they're actively working. And you set your inner thighs back till you feel a little lift and tilt in your pelvis. And as much as you can keep that, lengthen your back. As the hamstrings start to open, you could walk your hands closer to your feet and bow. Okay, legs strong, lift halfway up. You're going to swivel right toes forward towards left toes forward towards the front edge of the mat. Frame out your left foot with your hands for lunge. Okay, you're going to lower your right knee gently and straighten your left leg for half split. Okay, make sure the left toes point straight up, your left knee points straight up. Okay, hands are on either side of your front shin to the floor. Or if you have blocks, you could use blocks. Okay, making this so that you can do this without blocks. If you need to bend your knee, if you can't quite touch, bend your knee as much as you have to touch the floor. Okay, to protect your back. And you should feel the whole back of your left leg light up and stretch. Okay, place your hands, step back, and switch sides. Right foot forward, lower your left knee down, and straighten your right leg. Okay, right toe straight up, right knee straight up, hands on either side of your right shin to the floor. Okay, and if you have to bend the knee, bend the right knee as much as you need to touch down on either side of your front foot. Okay, pass through lunge, step back, down dog. Inhale, plank pose. Like a plank shape, don't let the hips drop as you lower. Chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, down dog. Again, bend the knees as much as you have to create a lift out of your low back. As much as you can keep that lift, actively stretch your hamstrings, heels towards the floor. Inhale, step your right foot forward for pyramid pose. Okay. So you're going to take a short enough stance so the hips are square. Okay, back heel's rooted. And your legs strong. Okay, lengthen your back, bow over your right leg. And the hamstrings are tight. You can keep hands on your hips. Okay, or if you could reach, you could touch hands down to either side of your front foot. Okay, and if you can't quite touch, either hands on the hips or bend your front knee as much as you have to touch. Okay, but you're actively working the legs towards straight. Okay, to get a stretch in the backs of your legs, the hamstrings. Okay, and step forward, bow at the top of your mat, feel the difference side to side. And second side, weight in the left foot, step your right foot back. Come up, hands on your hips. Hey, square your hips to the front of your mat. Back heel rooted. And lengthen your back. And bow over your left leg. Bend your front knee as much as you need to touch. And once you touch, actively stretch the legs. Okay, as straight as you could while keeping your hands on the floor and lengthening your back as you bow. Okay, keep the legs straight or working towards straight. And then step forward, bow forward, top of your mat. And just feel the difference maybe from the first one you did. And you can bend the knees again as much as you need to touch. And just come to sit on your mat. Louie's joining us. Okay, you stretch your left leg out, bend your right knee in for a twist. Right hand behind you. Inhale, reach your left arm up. And exhale, twist your left elbow across your right thigh. Maybe inhale, root down through both hips evenly to sit tall. And as you exhale, twist from the low belly. Okay, inhale, come back to center. Okay, switch legs. Okay, left hand behind you, reach your right arm up. And exhale, twist. Inhale, sit tall. Okay, right toe straight up. Okay, as you exhale, twist. Inhale, come back to center, stretch your legs out wide. Okay, so I like to do this forward fold first, okay, because you have a little bit more leverage in this pose if you're working with tighter hamstrings. Okay, the wide stance. Okay, look at your legs. Make sure your toes point straight up and your knees point straight up. Start with your hands behind you on the floor. Work your legs as straight as they'll go. So legs root down. Okay, and tilt your pelvis up. Lift your chest up. Okay, this is a nice one to work. You should already feel the hamstrings stretching. Breathe right here. Okay, if you can keep your legs rooted down and your pelvis tilting up, and then you can go forward. If you go to come forward and the knees pop up and the low back rounds, they just stay more upright. And take a couple breaths there. All right, swing your legs close. So here's some of the basics to it, but that are really effective in opening up the hamstrings. Okay, so be patient when you're opening up your hamstrings and enjoy. Namaste.